Hi, welcome. In this video, I'm out here with Sadie for phase 3 of service dog training with the focus on task-specific training. So in the background here, I have a couple objects that I'm going to be working with to have Sadie begin to take a hold of. And again, in terms of task-specific training with the assist to stand as well. So I'm going to be working on getting her to push up against resistance from a prone position in terms of kind of powerlifting. So if her owner happens to need her that way and need her from the position of having to help actually lift her up, I'm going to work towards getting her to push upwards more. So I'm going to be doing that as well. I'll be talking through how I shape that response. But again, Sadie's doing really, really well. This is all about, process, making sure that influence is part of the equation, taking the form of a demand. I talk a lot about the issue of using motivators at the beginning, the problems that can generate by way of perceptions of dogs. So the issue here is needing a service dog to be able to perform regardless of the environment, with other dogs present, whatever's happening around her and her owner, being able to stay focused the right way. And so when her owner needs her, Sadie is going to help her the right way, be able to offer that support. And ultimately that's what really matters. So here, I'm going to start to move with her. I'm going to, like I said, perform the assist to stand. I'm going to be motivating her. I'm going to be rewarding her, okay, based again on where we're at in the relationship, helping to, again, encourage her to start to connect dots here. So start to move with her here a little bit. So here I'm just going to perform just a basic here, just an emotion a little bit, put her into the sit. Still putting influence onto her. Stand. Good girl. So again, so she comes up into that position, applying influence onto her. Quite a bit of weight, getting her used to being able to take weight, but also keeping her really, I want her really close in here. So she moves out, I'm going to move her forward a little bit. I'm going to line her body up a little bit. I'm going to move her in a little bit in motion to help line this up. Again, moving forward, I'm going to help shuffle her in a little bit. In nice and tight to really offer her owner really good leverage support. So if she's out too far, that can create a problem. In, bring her in. Bring her forward here. Bring her forward. I want her to pace me. Good girl. Give her a little bit of reward here. Good, doing good. So here I'm going to bring her around. I'm going to do the prone exercise here. You see me doing this. I'm going to lower the camera down a little bit here because hopefully create a little better view here. So again, I'm going to bring her around. Put her in the sit. I'm going to lower down here. Down. So again, you imagine her, again, we were working on this the other day, with her owner being, move her over here a little bit. Needing, again, from a position of being on the floor, trying to leverage here, pushing. But again, what I want to do here is start to create some momentum so that Sadie's going to start to lift, start to push off a little bit when the command is given. Okay? Being able to offer support that way. So, and there's different ways, again, with her owner, kind of winding her into the sit position. So kind of mix it up a little bit, because again, the idea is to get her really responsive to different dynamics, different changing type of scenarios. So, because things that happen sometimes will happen different ways. So, but the idea here is to make her really pliable, really responsive, to make certain adjustments as needed. So, if her owner needs her a certain way, or she's going to be very agreeable to whatever's happening in that moment. Okay, so that's important. So, but again, that's about focus, right? Generating a really high level of focus, so that just as I move the leash just a little bit, or just touch her body and how I'm moving, she's going to respond to that. She's going to line up. Okay, that's part of it. But here, this exercise here, I'm going to do right from the point of being in a complete down position. I want her to kind of push off. I'm going to do it from a sit position as well. with pushing off as well. So it's just like kind of mixing this up a little bit. Because like I said, her owner can make the adjustments, but I'm on my left side here, which is where her owner typically would want her. So, but here's, again, as I do this, I'm going to put some resistance on her lightly at first, and then as I generate the response, I'm going to be moving the leash this way a little bit to help to initiate, okay, the response I want, to encourage her to push up, okay. So I am bringing her under a level of influence as I give the command. I'm continuing to push here a little bit, but once she's fully engaged, when she's committed and really kind of pushing, like committed, I'm going to put more weight on her, okay, at that moment. So this is just about how I'm kind of lining this up. So I'm going to like to do this, stay stand. Good girl, good, right there. I put more weight on her. I'm leaning right into her here. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Because again, as I'm pushing on her stuff, understand that some of this, can get, and when I'm bringing her over a little bit, making her pliable, because sometimes this stuff, can get messy, right? It's like you're trying to get up and, you're trying to move certain ways because you could be injured. And then I'm pushing here, really good on her, giving her lots of, doing good. So I'm going to repeat this. Over, sit, down. Do this again. Just slide her over a little bit. That was pretty good. Do this again. Again, we're keeping some, force going here with her. Sadie, stand. Good girl, right there. The form of commitment, I'm pushing a little bit harder. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. I'm going to bring her back here a little bit. Good girl. Stand. Good girl. Stand. Stand. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Doing good. Move her around here. Put her back into the sit. Now I'm going to do this from a sit position now as well. So again, her owner likes the ability to be able to have this happen from a sit position as well here, but again, being able to push on her. Good girl. Good girl. Stand. Good girl. 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 Really good. We'll do this one more time from a prone position. Sit. Down. Down. Sadie, stand. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. Very good. So again, this is one of the things where we're just kind of mixing up a little bit here. And now we're going to work on the objects exercise. So again, the idea here is to give her lots of encouragement. Introducing these objects, so it takes the form of a demand. So there is putting it inside of her mouth. So I am going to be pushing a little bit. But again, when she takes the object into her mouth, giving her lots of reward. Okay, so really giving her lots of incentive, because again, this is where I'm kind of saving reward for this. So plastic object. Good girl, good girl. Good girl. That was excellent. So the same thing here. She takes the object into her mouth. I'm even petting onto her, lots of reward. And again, as her desire increases, I'll start to lower it down because, as she starts to move forward, I'll sense that. I'll be paying attention. I'll start to bring it lower to the floor. Yeah. Good girl. Right there. That happened right there. Good girl. Good girl. So you notice here, you see on camera, as I'm moving around a little bit, she's starting to look at it because she makes the association that, well, Dale's going to pet me if I take this. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Now, I'm very happy with that. Very good. So same thing. And here's the same thing too with you know, kind of making this more solid. So she comes up out of a sit position. You know, I want her into a sit position for this. So same thing, do it one more time here. Good girl, good girl, good girl. Sit. Good girl. So there, again, even adjusting her amount of force from her mouth. This is why I'm praising her as I'm pushing on her mouth. I'm just trying to stabilize the pressure. So I don't want her like thinking she's going to chew at it or clamp down hard. I'm trying to adjust the pressure. You know, so I'm holding her mouth and she's allowing me because I'm rewarding her at the same time. So we'll do it one last time with this. We'll try with the pill bottle here in a moment as well. So the same thing also is just keep on to come out of that sit a little bit, just putting her down into it. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. That's great. So we're going to try the pill bottle here. Okay. Good girl, good girl. Come on, get it, get it. You're going to have to put some force on it a little bit. Good girl, good girl. But notice, you know, I opened her mouth. She was pretty agreeable to that. She didn't try to clench her teeth or anything. She let me put the pill bottle in her mouth, pretty agreeable, and gave her lots of reward. Okay, so that really helps to offset. Same thing. Get it, get it, come on, get it, get it. Come on. Good girl, good girl, good girl, good girl. So she had her mouth already open. That was really, really good. So I'll stop there. Okay, and that's the other thing too, is kind of knowing when to stop at times. So I kind of do it kind of like circuit training. Okay, there's lots of just like a few minutes here, a few minutes there. You're just like expanding on it that way. So if you're doing this type of training, you know, high level focus, lots of, you know, in this case, lots of reward. She's doing really, really good. You see how she's starting to push off now a little bit. But again, it's all about getting her very responsive to whatever the changing situation is. I'll be working on a lot of that too. You'll see me in the tight areas here and stuff doing this exercise as well. So, but she's doing really great. Thanks for watching.